on two things, if I can. One is the RBI action in the recent past, and two, maybe I can start with that, the recent regulation or the recent moves by the regulator on, for example, Jane Street, right? Large global investment firm, if you will, making dollops of money out of Indian options market, and then we've seen this regulation come in as well. What did you make of it? Let's start with that.
I think it's a very good step by the regulator. Actually, I think in the last few days, they have done a report which shows that retail investors lost 1 lakh crores in the last financial year. That's a lot of money in a weekly settlement market in derivative.
You know, we've been also cautioning all the investors, and SEBI has done a beautiful job in releasing all these reports and actually doing this detailed investigation. See, at heart, you know, derivatives is a sophisticated product, and it is important that the investors who trade in the derivative segment know about the risk. Despite all the efforts of the regulator, a lot of people have been trading in it and losing money. If you look at it, the growth in the losses has been much more than the growth in the markets. And that's very worrying. And you know, regulator has spent so much of time and energy. And if you look at the investigation report that they have carried out, they have done such a deep and detailed work on it. And it is very, very shocking, and it is very worrying that investors have lost money against it. And I think the type of investigation they had to do was very, very tough and very, very good. I hope investors also realize, who are participating in the derivatives market, that they have to be very careful. As mutual funds, you know, we don't participate much in the weekly derivatives market because we don't write options on the index. We are not allowed to write options. And for us, weekly settlement is not something that interests us. In a very, very rare situation like a budget or an election, we may take some exposure, but otherwise we have no interest in the weekly settlement because we are long-term investors. But it is the daily derivative, weekly settlement has been participated by retail investors, and they have lost a lot of money. And I think the work done by SEBI has been fantastic in this area. But I hope investors read all the reports that SEBI has prepared and realize that they have to cut their trading volume, because it is not the job of the regulator to stop trading. It is the job of the investor to realize that they have lost money. The data shows that the investor has lost money, and the gainer has been people outside India.
Yeah, that's true. So you reckon that because there is talk of SEBI extending some bit of this scrutiny to some of the other firms as well, globally, maybe locally as well, high frequency trading, etc. You reckon this will continue, and it's actually a good practice per se?
No, I think forget all that. I think the SEBI has done such a lot of work on this area and tried to dissuade investors from trading in this weekly option.
Which I agree.
I think that itself is enough. Why should, I mean, I think there is enough data to tell you that you have to be careful.
No, agree. No, but just one last point on this. So one is that the retail investor should be careful. Options trading is not making money. Two, for a regulator to pass an order of this nature onto a global firm which is trading in Indian equities or Indian derivatives and making this money, do you think this can dampen the mood of global firms which are looking at trading into Indian markets, or not really?
I don't think so. If you look at India, I think so many Indian foreign investors and the most storied investors have made money in the last 30 years by being investors, not by doing weekly derivative options. If you look at the amount of money they have in India, it is $800–900 billion. And they made money by investing for the long term, not by doing weekly derivative options. So I think it has no impact on all those long-term investors. I don't think the long-term FIIs are going to be affected by what happens in weekly derivative options. I think weekly derivative options is something a few investors have focused on. Most of the investors who've been there in India from 1994 till 2025 are very different type of investors. They have taken long-term bets on many, many companies, and they are big shareholders in most of the prominent companies in India. They are not weekly derivative exposures.